Folks, the best player on the PGA Tour in 2011 is Mark Wilson.
He is a five-time winner on the tour. In fact, between 2007 and 2012, we checked this. Only 4 players, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Steve Stricker, and Zach Johnson. Those are the only 4 players who won more tournaments than he did. And when he's not playing, he shares his wisdom on PGA Tour Live. Mark Wilson is with us tonight.
Bryson DeChambeau, 3 tournaments since the restart. He's been in the top 10 in all 3 of them, and he looks even more dominant this week than he has looked the previous 3.
You know what's really scary, Brian, is that if he just played the par 5s a little bit better, he hit every single fairway on the par 5s today, but only was able to make 2 birdies. And he's hitting irons into these for the second shot. So the field's got to be very scared having him right there at the top. I'm just curious what kind of grade he's going to give himself. He gave himself a B yesterday when he shot 6 under, and today shooting 5 under, birdies the last hole. Maybe the grade's going to be closer to an 8.
Yeah, we know how they do the reverse horseshoe. You know, if you're kind of right there at that 3-4 under mark, if you're tied for 32nd place or so, you're going to be one of those first ones out. And the PGA Tour rules officials are out here to give those first couple of groups their tee times before they even post them, so that those guys are ready. You got an idea. Everyone has a different kind of warm-up, but I had about an hour long, and so I'd kind of have to be flexible. If all of a sudden I only got 45 minutes, I'd cut everything by just a few minutes.
I'm glad you brought up basketball, because it reminds me one thing about Gary Woodland I got to throw in is that he actually reached out to Ray Allen a bunch of years ago, and Ray Allen introduced him to his current trainer.
Interesting.
And it kind of changed. Gary had some injuries going and stuff, and he really kind of changed his workouts, his nutrition. And so we kind of credit Ray Allen for maybe this today a little bit in the sense. You know, it all comes back to Milwaukee here.
You're walking with Jason Day, and Jason, obviously you've been a Columbus resident now for about a decade. But this heat here, this feels a bit more like your homeland in Queensland, doesn't it?
It does, and I was just actually asking JC, I said, is it hot in Florida? I've learned to call this home, and the people are fantastic up here. The golf courses are tremendous. There's a lot of hidden gems around here. And you know what? I actually like it. It's nice and quiet up here.
Yeah. And how's your shoveling skills? Or do you have a snow blower, snow plow for the winter?
Like a brush that spins. But yeah, it's pretty fancy.
Of course, Jason Day being very fancy.
Now, how about Phil?
Well, he learned from a missed cut earlier in the season at Riviera, trying to keep up with some long-hitting guys, Brooks Koepka and Bubba Watson, and he missed the cut. And so this week, I was curious to see what's he going to do coming out with Bryson DeChambeau, who's the guy who's talking about hitting it as far as ever, and we've seen some incredible drives from him. He didn't really try to keep up with them. He kind of hit his kind of bunt cut out there and made birdies that way.
MJ Duffy, how about what he's doing? Monday qualifier shoots 63. That included 11 birdies on Monday. It's a long week when you Monday qualify. He also birdied his last hole on Saturday morning just to make the cut and then shoot 65. That kid is playing for so much. 31 years old, kind of a journeyman at this point, but this could really change his life the next 6 to 8 hours.
You got Mackenzie Hughes in there, who's a winner on the PGA Tour, starting to figure it out, second place at Honda Classic. And then you've got Will Gordon, this guy's got the sponsor exemption. And a lot of you haven't heard about him, but you should have. He was right in that same class, right behind Matthew Wolff and Morikawa and Victor Hovland. You're going to learn a lot more about him today and enjoy watching him hit some long drives. Listen to this stat from last year. You guys, you're sitting down, thankfully. Buckle your seatbelts. All right. This stretch, 13 through 16, last time we played here, 677 under par collectively, whereas the rest of the course, 5 over par. So yes, you've got to get here, especially on the tee on 13. You sit there with some expectations like, I've got to be probably 2 under par just to make up a little ground. But if you go even or 1 under through this stretch, you're losing ground. It's just kind of standard for us, no matter what. Even when he's practicing, I bet he waves. I remember my wife caddying for me in a U.S. Open local qualifier, and I was used to playing on the PGA Tour, and I made a nice putt on the first hole, and my first reaction was to wave, and she goes, who are you waving at? There's nobody out here watching us. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot.
And Olympia Fields, too, it's very fitting. We're here because when we finally got this North course in the books, this is the 4th course that was designed here, they had to employ about 1,000 caddies just to get the guys around this place. I'm excited for this week's second leg of the playoffs. Before we go, I got to wish my son, Lane, a happy birthday. It's his 13th birthday. That's right, I got a teenager now. He's probably doing e-learning. He should be doing e-learning. But if he's streaming PGA Tour Live also because Dad's on air, following Tiger Woods, I might give him a pass.